My dudes, I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a really, really long time. I'm reporting deep within normie controlled territory. I've painted the walls green to try to keep my spirit up, but it falters time from time. And I just wanted to communicate that I think we won. Not the battle per se, but we won something this day, Chatelet. We managed to get the Southern Poverty Law Center to label us as a hate group. And while it seems like it's a step back from getting ethnically recognized as a true people with our own religion and culture, I think what we have accomplished is proving that there's something really messed up with identity politics. What I mean by that is I just want to ask you the question right now. How is it okay to say that we can be whoever it is that we want to be, but then at the same time try to police what we're allowed to be when it's the thing you don't want people to be? This isn't a profound video, but I just want to bring up the notion of the 72 genders I think Milo Stewart once mentioned. And I want to bring up the whole notion of, okay, so there are 72 genders, but does that mean that the 73rd is only okay if it can get approved? I want you to try to point this out in future debates with people, because this is something we need to start asking folks. It's not that necessarily their mindset is wrong in a lot of ways, but you gotta ask, how can it be that something is both supposed to be freeing and respectful as a concept, but then on the other hand, you can just take it away. And you can take it away for lesser crimes than a lot of other religions and ethnic groups have managed in the past. And I am not going to point fingers at anybody. This is not a video talking about what other people have done over the course of history collectively. That is not the focus of this video at all. This is a focus of talking about the here and now and questioning how to go forward as a modern society. And I want you to stay focused in that mindset, because this is the true question. The true question is, can we identify however we want to identify? Or are there qualifiers that limit our ability to express ourselves? And if there are qualifiers, what are those qualifiers? What are those limitations? Because if there are limitations, we need to define them. You can't say that the universe is limitless and that we can't say that there's only two genders, even though science argues otherwise on a lot of different levels. You can't dismiss rules, but then immediately impose your own rules that have less grounding than the rules you threw away. I am not advocating a return to anything. I'm not advocating I'm not pushing any particular side on this. I'm literally just asking you guys, start asking questions in regards to how this logic functions. Because if we can come up with ground rules that everyone can agree on, that is a whole different story than what seems to be happening right now, which is rules don't apply or everything is free and easygoing until we don't like it, and then we bring down the ban hammer. Because that kind of society is not a free society, one in which nobody knows what they're allowed to say or not allowed to say until they get punished for the thing they already said. We need to come up with some kind of an open dialogue so that everyone can live life more stress-free and be more expressive and know within what connotations, limitations we can be expressive. Because society will always have rules, but where chaos reigns supreme is when nobody can agree on anything, but people get punished for things. That is unjust. So I just encourage you all out there, Chatelet, my people, my dudes, please use this chance to have an actual conversation and to show that mockery is the best medicine to a situation wherein serious matters lie. The reason why these jokes exist, the reason why all this humor, all this meme magic is happening, is because people are desperately trying to find a contemporary way to express themselves about what's going on. It's not about trying to hurt anyone's feelings. It's a desperate cry for, I am trying to express myself and I can't find the right mode to do it. What do you think modern art is? What do you think all of the past masters that were rebels in their time and were hated and now they're worshipped, they're seen as divine inspiration people? Well, what was all of that about? Why can't you see that that's what's happening here? We are the Andy Warhols. We are putting up the repeating images of Marilyn Monroe and soup cans to ask questions about our modern society. All those frogs, as simple and as shallow as they may seem at times, or as offensive as they may seem sometimes, pay attention to those emotions, because those emotions are the point. It's about looking in the mirror and deciding on how you feel about yourself, because I am not telling you that there's anything wrong with yourself at all. I'm asking you to honestly look at yourself and decide, are you happy with all of this? If you are, fantastic. But you need to realize that those uncomfortable feelings you might feel are feelings that you need to reconcile before you can move forward. We are all in a tense situation right now socially, and it's not just because I'm behind normie lines. It's because we need to talk. We're not talking. We're walling ourselves off, and behind those walls, there are really bizarre ideologies forming. I will close out now, but I will just like to say finally that there is no difference between the rednecks that used to scream Al-Qaeda whenever they saw a woman wearing a headscarf 15 years ago, and the people who are now trying to discern who may or may not be a Nazi purely based on how they cut their hair that day. Both cases are hysterical. Both cases led to people getting hurt because of a terrible amount of misinformation and a lack of communication. We need to start talking to each other, no matter who you are, no matter who I am. We need to talk to each other, because if we don't talk to each other, bad things will happen. And it's not any particular side that will initiate these bad things. They will be isolated incidences. There have already been isolated incidences. And if we could just start talking, we could all be happier, because we could all understand each other. We could understand each other's fears, each other's worries, and console one another, show one another how they're either right or wrong with factual information that's non-biased in its sourcing. We can do all of this. We just need to talk. And part of that talking is not labeling something as a hate group so you can put it on a shelf. No. Ask yourself, why did those memes make you uncomfortable? And start talking. Everyone, please, please start talking. And I will try to survive another day. Chatelet.